We are in the endgame, folks, and we kick off in this distant place where Freaky meets Deaky, which is home to the Vok. We finally get to see them, as previously they only presented themselves as Unicron, because we couldn't comprehend their real form and so appeared as a disembodied head. Well, the Vok are disembodied heads, which I suppose is a great way of hiding in plain sight. They've picked up that Megatron has been screwing with the time stream, even though they washed their hands of the place. So that's when we see, yes, finally, Tigertron and Air Razor still in suspended animation here for just such an occasion. You never know when you might suddenly need a couple of bodies. Their sparks are pulled out, the bodies are then fused into a single form, which these two Vok then inhabit. They're on their way to Earth, and it's Judgment Day.
Let the trial commence.
Oh, that's a hanging judge if I ever saw one. As if this couldn't be any more of a kangaroo court if the jury was kangaroo bots, Waspinator is the defense attorney.
Two-head, throw Megatron in lava pit. Megatron angry. Think Two-head a traitor. Want to slag Two-head. Waspinator down with that.
Bold legal strategy. Let's see how it works out for him. Dinobot 2 and Rampage appear to be the jury as well as the bailiffs and the executioners, so I'm not seeing a chance for an appeal. Quicksilver is given a chance to redeem himself by sharing what he knows, but that's clearly a trick because it's very clear he knows absolutely nothing. Oh, sorry about that. I once again used the wrong name. Let me fix that. Dipshit is given a chance to redeem himself. What spares him for now is that there's a priority alert, which Tarantulas picks up as well, the energy signature of the incoming Vok. Quick Strike gets a stay of execution, literal in this case. They need all hands to deal with whatever this is. Well, all hands to try. Turns out the omnipotent bad guys are immune to a few pot shots from a crashed ship, and the shields go down. Megatron grudgingly decides to abandon base rather than watching all his minions die in a fit of pique, though it's clear that was a tough call. I think it's safe to say at this point, those of you holding out for a Scorponok 11th hour comeback, that's pretty much off the table now. The Maximals note the situation, and Rat Trap thinks it's a good thing, but Rhinox notes, no, that's no comet, it's got to be the aliens, and they're not finished with a little home wrecking. Hooah, that is one impressive combiner. This is Tigerhawk, come to tell Megatron that the worm is turned and he's the one on trial for the violation of time and space. Megatron will not go quietly. In fact, he does few things quietly, and they try fighting back. Tigerhawk responds with a tornado, taking Inferno, Waspinator, and Quick Strike out of the picture and presumably off to Oz. Rat Trap is still insisting on seeing this glass as 1/10 full, but Optimus points out the real problem beyond the fact of the storm-summoning alien robot is that the original Megatron spark is inside this Megatron, and that means if killed, a time storm will be created, one which will likely wipe out the Autobots and Decepticons, their ancestors. This makes the Vok's plan seem questionable. There's a chance that Megatron could create a deadly time storm. You're right, we better head there and make certain of one. Megatron and Tigerhawk take their beast forms into the air to fight this out, and when Cheetor shows up to watch this craziness, Tarantulas ambushes him. When Tigerhawk defeats Megatron, Optimus arrives, but when he tries to explain the situation, Tigerhawk opens the ground, lets him fall in, and closes it. You know, I knew Tigerhawk was a Vok avatar, I just didn't know that gave him avatar bending powers. Well, fortunately for the space-time continuum, Tarantulas picks that moment to strike, overwhelming Tigerhawk with his bug zappers and taking his unconscious form away. As you saw, Cheetor had already been pinned down by a web, but the sparks of Tigertron and Air Razor arrive and appear to Cheetor before then fusing in front of him. And then he sees a Vok coming. That's a pee-the-bed moment for him. He spots the fused sparks when he wakes up and follows while Optimus is digging himself out, and Tigerhawk awakens in Tarantulas' lair. He intends to destroy the Vok within to have Tigerhawk as his own weapon, because he and the Trichinosis Council want the Ark destroyed. Yes, again, that will wipe out all the descendants of the Autobots and Decepticons. But it turns out this freak and the Triglyceride Council, they're descended from someone else. And so wiping out those factions will leave Cybertron all for themselves. His ray drives out the Vok, but that leaves them free to try and take over his body. He freaks at the thought of that. And when they do, all three are then destroyed by his own ray, which I admit is not quite what I expected. I always figured he'd go out a victim of one of his own bombs. Cheetor brings out Tigerhawk's body before the place blows up, finds Optimus, and then the fused spark enters Tigerhawk. This is treated as a homecoming, even if they've been amalgamated now. Their memories are still in there. Just, when they say tell all are one, I didn't know it was quite so literal. We're going to get into the events of this episode later on. I want to give it a bit more context before we delve into it. We're getting very close to the end of the series. So, please stay tuned for more of Beast Wars.
All hail your